This is how you actually research a case. Once you find the case, then you go and read all the pages. But you'll start seeing that they mention other cases in there. Bell versus Hood. That is repeating the Bivens citation. Amos versus United States. United States versus Classic. See, and they go to Bell versus Hood again. Bemis Brothers Bag Company versus United States. The Western Made, 257 U.S. 419. And Gambino versus United States, 275 310. Bivens is far from over. You should also read the National Prohibition Act, Byers versus United States, 273 U.S. 28. Kate versus United States, 389 U.S. 347. Berger versus New York, 388 U.S. 41. Silverman versus United States, 365 U.S. 505. W. Prosser, The Law of Torts, Section 18, pages 109 to 110. They use that, and F. Harper and F. James, The Law of Torts, Section 1.11. Also McGuire versus U.S., 273 U.S. 95. Hester versus United States, 265 U.S. 57. And Bordeaux versus McDowell, 256 U.S. 465. Lots of cases. It repeats Amos again. And Weeks is a very important case. 232 U.S. 383. United States versus Lee, 106 U.S. 196. In U.S. versus Lee, it was decided that all men are equal in the law. Neagle versus U.S. See, in Ray Neagle, 135 U.S. 1. Nixon versus Condon, 286 U.S. 73. And Nixon versus Herndon, 273 U.S. 536. Swafford versus Templeton, 185 U.S. 487. Wiley versus Sinker, 179 U.S. 58. Mentions Bell again. West versus Cabell, 153 U.S. 78. And Lemon versus Fusier, hope I pronounced that wrong, 111 U.S. 17. Mentions Bell versus Hood again and again and again. U.S. versus Standard Oil, 332 U.S. 301. U.S. versus Gilman, 347 U.S. 507. And Wheeldon versus Wheeler, 373 U.S. 647. Jacobs versus United States, 290 U.S. 13. See, now this is what you should do if you want to file a Bivens claim under Title 42, Section 1985. You should read all these cases. There is the Bivens again, Webster Bivens, Bell versus Hood. And see, these are all cases dealing directly with civil lawsuits and why they were dismissed. Most of them were mentioned in Bivens. I added a couple more because I did double research and triple research on this. Barr versus Mateo, that was mentioned in there. The repeated one, Bell versus Hood, Burgess versus Tomano, Byers versus U.S., and these are all done alphabetically. There's that Neagle, Cunningham versus Neagle. That was in supra or in re, if you remember. Gambino. See, there's Illinois Central Railroad Company, mentioned in International Brotherhood of Boilermakers, Iron Shipbuilders, Blacksmith Forgers, and Helpers, AFL-CIO, versus George W. Hardeman. Another one that used Bivens. And I think that one was just decided just previous to Bivens. Katz, that one kept getting repeated. What a person seeks to preserve as private, even in an area accessible to the public, may constitutionally be protected under the Fourth Amendment. But all the cases from Bivens are in here. You have to pay special attention to some like this. This was decided after Bivens, but this is a key to filing civil lawsuits. So make sure you get that. I hope that they don't charge you more than $10 a week if they don't teach you shit like this. Nix versus Norman, and Nixon versus Condone and Herndon. Remember, those were mentioned. Wasn't too much meat in those. I was kind of disappointed. Palco versus State of Connecticut. All of these are in Bivens, so you don't need to watch this video. You need to go down to the local law library and start reading them. Schmierberer. I love that name. Isn't that a funny name? Schmierberer. Happened right here in California. Silverman, mentioned there. A police officer may not seize an unarmed, non-dangerous suspect by shooting him dead. Did we really have to have the Supreme Court tell us that? The Western Maid, she was mentioned. Wheeldon and Will. Those were all mentioned in Bivens. U.S. versus Classic. So I hope you find this informative. Give me a like and a follow. Repost this. Share this. If you think it's good information. What the fuck?